Hi, everybody, and welcome to another halftime program with the Browns losing 20-10. Uh, what can I tell you? Uh, you've got the Cavaliers coming up on Tuesday and the Indians coming up on Tuesday. And all I'm going to say about this half is what I'm going to say basically for the rest of the season. What is the definition of insanity? All right. That is, I think, a fair question. The definition of insanity. If you know it, type it in the chat room because that's what we're going to be talking about. That's your homework assignment. What is the definition of insanity? Right, meanwhile, I'm going to tweet out that the show is on the air. I'll wait for your response in the chat room. The definition of insanity. I'm typing this in now. What is the definition of insanity? All right, now I'm going to go back to the chat room and see if anyone has it. Insanity equals not of sound judgment. Nope. That's right. Tony got it right. Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Thank you, Tony. I'm certainly glad that somebody knows the definition of insanity. All right. Here's the deal. The Cleveland Browns have won the toss and have chosen to defer. 7-0 Cincinnati. 7-0 every team this year. Immediate touchdown drive every single time. At what point do you say, Cody Kessler and the Browns are actually scoring enough points and Kessler starts to have a chance at winning? At what point do you take the fucking ball when you win the toss rather than put yourself into a 7-point hole every week? Why do you challenge plays that have no conceivable chance of being overturned? Why would you rehire a defensive coordinator who was so bad the first time that fans hope to God they never saw his ass again? Why? This is the type of insanity that we have to deal with. And it is all part of why this team will never win. Will never win. But I'll tell you something else. Because whether they win or lose doesn't even matter to me. Because I'm sickened watching this. And this is going to be a message that nobody is going to want to hear. But you're going to get it from me for the rest of the season. What would it be like if the Cleveland Indians played the Chicago Cubs in the World Series and what you watched was Jason Kipnis trying to beat out a ground ball and he trips over the bag at first base and then 6 guys stand over him and beat him half to death with a baseball bat? Would you sit there and go, yeah, beat him with the bat? What are you watching here? What are we watching here? How many quarterbacks need to get injured? And I'm saying this because all of the viewership of all Browns programming across the internet has gone completely gone. Bye-bye. Nobody cares anymore. The NFL ratings are down 10%. And I'm telling you that I'm the next one. I'm not going to sit and watch this. And it isn't that the Browns and the fact that they can't win, it's sickening to me. I literally feel sick to my stomach watching these quarterbacks being assaulted. The Cleveland Browns don't have good enough people up front. But it isn't like the Minnesota Twins, who don't have a good lineup in baseball. Sorry, Tony, but I'm using them as an example. There's lots of other teams I could use. It's not like the Philadelphia 76ers, where pride is lost. You watch, they lose, you lose interest, you go, pfft. Like the Byron Scott Cavaliers. Pfft. It isn't like that. This is different. This isn't a matter of wins and losses. This is a matter of life and death. If I were Cody Kessler's family, I would ask him to retire. I mean, the fact that he's played as little as he's hasn't, look at the injuries that this guy's already incurred. Look at Josh McCown. Look at RG3. It's every quarterback, and it will be Hogan as well, because he ain't Hulk Hogan, folks. How can you sit and watch this? How can we sit and watch this? This is sickening. It's not a game. When you line up players who are this bad at the line of scrimmage, I would just hand the ball off every time in the second half and just lose. I could not have it on my conscience to watch all of these quarterbacks having their lives shortened right before my eyes. If I were a coach in this league, I'd resign. I'd quit. This isn't a matter of trying to bring a franchise back from the brink of death. It is death. We're watching young men dying. If it were one quarterback, you'd say to yourself, well, you got hit in the wrong spot. It's every quarterback who's ever played for this organization for the past God knows how many years. And I know this is not a popular message and you don't want to hear it, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. At some point, we become the problem too. And what does it matter whether you're 1-15, 2-14, 3-13, or 0-16? What difference does it make when young men are being killed on the field, brain cell by brain cell? I just can't get off on this anymore. I just, and everybody knows the passion that I've put into football for the last 13 years. And before that, when I streamed games online, I've been as big a booster of the Browns and of NFL football as anyone. And I just don't have it in me anymore. And Wable, it's time to trade Thomas and injury-ridden Hayden before the trade deadline. You know something? No, it doesn't matter. Hayden is 27 years old and he can't stay on the field. And Iron Man Thomas, you wait till you see him 10, 15 years from now. You're not even going to recognize him with a tin cup in his hand selling pencils on the street corner. Hi, Arbus. How you doing? I think everybody should quit. I think the sport should be abolished, Wiley. I really do. It's dangerous enough when you have good personnel and people still get hurt. It's that dangerous. Wable saying, I told my wife the same thing, Moo, and she looked at me like I was crazy. If you have a heart, if you have a soul, you're looking at this beyond the fact that, oh man, I can't believe we gave up the bomb at the end of the half. I mean, the players are bad. We know that. The players aren't any good. We know that. This is what the team drafted itself into, and completely understandable that the team is this bad, but that isn't it. I mean, if your idea of entertainment is putting a guy for the first time in the octagon in MMA who has no experience and has never worked out before, then you probably love the tough man contest too. And, when the tough man contest came to Michigan, when I owned radio stations there and I sat and watched it, I almost vomited. Big fat guys. One guy at the middle of the third round collapsed and they had to bring oxygen. He was having a heart attack. I'm not making this shit up. Art Dorr was the guy who did the Tough Man shows. I knew Art. It was pathetic. It was the most exploitational thing in the world, pretending like you're giving some pug a chance to make some money. What you were really doing was you were bloodletting for the audience. I mean, and literally, they didn't even have ambulances present. I mean, people just die right on the spot. There were known cases of tough men contests that ended in death. That's what this is like. Andy Lee fan saying the pass blocking is inexcusable and it was bad before the injuries. Yeah. You know, General Dog says football should be abolished. It damages people for life and shortens their lives. And that is the bottom line. And it isn't just true of the Cleveland Browns. And Guest 910 said, what are you talking about, Moo? This sport has been exploitational for its entire existence. But, you reach a point where the speed of the game, you see what's changed about the game is the way they dress the players and the overall fitness level, size, speed of the players. It's gone from being exploitational to being murderous, right? Wabel says he feels bad for Hugh Jackson because he has to be dealt this hand. He looks like he's had enough, even though he says differently. I think, anybody who's watching this, watching your quarterbacks keep getting dragged off the field, it's really a difficult thing. The Ray Horton thing is a mystery to me as well, because, the defense is in absentia. By the way, if anybody finds out anything about Cody Kessler, whether he is out with a concussion for the rest of the game, because I'm not going to watch a second half with Hulk Hogan in the game. I'm not going to watch that. I'm not going to watch another guy get hurt. And I won't do a post-game show. If Kessler is out of this game, that's it. I just don't want to be a part of it. Yeah, you just have to understand that I love my team, and even though they're not any good, I love my team. But not for this. Out for the game with a concussion for the Browns. That's it then. There will be no post-game show. I don't have any desire to do this. And I'm going to go out and I'm going to golf. I'm going to have some fun and get away from this, because this is not a healthy thing. And I hope you do the same thing. I hope you choose to walk away. It was cute when Hogan ran a few read options, but it's not cute watching somebody who is not prepared to play be forced to play. It's no good. And they're not going to win the game anyway. If the organization had any class, they would just let the guy hand the ball off every time and just take their lumps and lose the game. But this notion of, got to try to win at all costs, but the cost is people's lives. It's just no good, And thanks, General Dog. I'll be back on Monday to talk about this, and we'll talk about things that matter more, like sports that don't kill people, like baseball and basketball, that are coming up for the Cleveland sports scene. I'm sorry, folks, but it's I'm shaken. I just don't want to watch this anymore. And I feel that it degrades me as a person. It lessens me as a person. Thanks a lot for tuning into this one. And what I decide to do next week, we'll see. Take care and enjoy whatever it is you choose to do. And until then, hasta la vista, pass your heads. Take care.